But in World War II, during the American Civil War, you had price gouging on war profiteering on both sides.
Sure, so they finance both sides. So I mean, is it leaning towards war or against it?
It's leaning toward war, but Bilderberg is not 100% in favor. Some in Europe say, no, we shouldn't do it. But most of them are in favor of American airstrikes against Iran and whimpering that Iran's got these massive nuclear weapons. They threaten Israel. Well, Israel's had nuclear weapons since 1962. First revealed by longtime Bilderberger, the late George Ball, in the Washington Post op-ed thing way back in the 60s. And he's announced that Israel does have nuclear weapons, and there's some speculation that the assassination of President Kennedy may in some way reflect the fact that Kennedy was pressuring Israel to disarm. Israel has never joined the Non-Proliferation Treaty. They do not admit nor deny that they have nuclear weapons.
Okay, but to be clear, I mean, you in 2002, you said Donald Graham of the Washington Post was there. He lied and said the attack would be in 02. You said March of 03, a year before. You were right with precision, more than a year before. Because last year and the year before, you said Iran was not on the burner. You're saying they are close to green lighting? I mean, be specific, Jim. This is big from your Bilderberg sources. You're saying they are moving towards green lighting, or it has been green lighted?
They're tilting heavily toward green lighting U.S. attack on Iran. They're not 100% in agreement, but the majority of the Bilderberg kids favor U.S. airstrikes on Iran. And there will be some, of course, some more profiteering. And when you spill the lifeblood of our young men and the heart's blood of our women, you make money. These are.
Well, plus, isn't that a political diversion during their banking looting?
Well, it has that virtue too. It's also a diversion, but you also make money on. These are guys in manufacturing. You make money when you're making tanks and airplanes and other war materials.
Yes, command destruction. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm only going to keep you a few more minutes because I know you're busy, Jim, and once you're back in the U.S. and have written your articles, we'll have you up for a full debriefing, and we're very, very honored to have you here with us. And I do owe you a carton of cigarettes for the last time you were on the road for using up all your cell phone minutes. But I did deliver the cigarettes last time for the cell phone minutes. I'm just joking, folks. But to be serious, anything else that's really important people need to know? Was there any time frame on the attack on Iran? Are they concerned and upset about the awakening like Brzezinski talked about a few weeks ago?
Yes, Brzezinski we think is going to be here. Again, they're struggling for unity on the issue, and the tilt is heavily in favor of war. And also they're saying that the United States must be Europeanized, which means welfare and health rationing, as they do in Canada and throughout the European Union, where you're paying well over 50% of your taxes to their national government. And
so domestication, they want to domesticate us further.
Pardon?
They want to domesticate us further.
Yes, we've got to be Europeanized. We have to have their system of welfare for you retire at 55. Well, someday I'll be 55. Well, I'm 75. I'm 75, but it'd be a horrible thing to happen in this country to come under the European style health care. Well, European style of total socialism, for that matter. But,
all right, Jim, I want to have Bob Chapman of the internationalforecaster.com, who's with us once a week, and we're breaking into his interview to have you here, but he's a big fan of yours. And so I want him to be able to ask you a question, and then I've got one final question for you. Bob Chapman, I'd like to hear what any questions you've got for the legendary Jim Tucker.
Well, I think the most important question that he's answered is that they're very concerned about the euro, and my take is that they're in for a big surprise. I think it's going to come unglued. We had discussed earlier, before Jim came on, about the possibility of an event being created with the Israeli incident in regard to the Gaza aid ships. And it could be the catalyst. And as Jim said, the majority is in favor of going into Iran. And if Brzezinski gets there, he'll be howling to go into Iran. Don't you think so, Jim?
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah, he's been an architect of the goals throughout the Middle East and into the geopolitical outflanking of Russia.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'm gonna hold you over. We're about to let Jim go and get some final comments from Bob Chapman here at the end. But Jim Tucker, anything else you haven't told us that is important to be relayed to the public? I mean, I hope people are paying very close attention to what you have to say, because you have real sources. You don't just make stuff up and say that it came from Bilderberg sources, as some have been known to do. I mean, you really have these sources, and it's been proven year after year. These are some incredible developments you brought up. Any other points quickly? But also, I just want to ask. So they do have a sense of losing control. Do they think they can save their euro? Is their world government in trouble? This sounds like great news.
Oh, yes, it is. They're far behind schedule of the world government. But they are calling for an international bank tax to be administered by the IMF, which is to become the future World Treasury Department. International bank tax, where the Federal Trade Commission could say all these banks will pay a certain tax. Of course, they'll make up their higher charges on interest rates and so forth. It's not their own money, really short money.
And that's a way to shut down the smaller banks. In fact, you've been talking about that for 20 years as being on their agenda. They're now proposing a global government run by the IMF and World Bank that we all pay taxes to.
Yes, global Treasury Department under the IMF, and the bank tax is. That's to address the economic crisis, of course. They say that's the rationale.
So overall, would you say this is the most downbeat Bilderberg in the history of the Bilderberg?
I would say so, yes. When certain, quote, important people, unquote, are not coming because of the flack they get at home, because all these people are exposing us. We get all this mail, get all these calls. That's just wonderful. I hope these very important people suffer like they deserve to suffer.
So they're very upset by the exposure, thanks to you and others. Well, Jim, it's got to feel good 33, 34 years later to see this mighty harvest of awakening.
Yes, and we'll be, like you said, we'll get together when I get home.
All right, Jim Tucker, AmericanFreePress.net. People can subscribe there, get a hard copy, or read it online. Thank you for giving us time. We appreciate you joining us, Jim.
My pleasure, and I'll talk to you later.
All right, we're going to come back with Bob Chapman.